Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're appreciating the spooky vibes we've got going on today, because today I'm going to be sharing one of my own personal, possibly paranormal experiences. So, yeah, let's just dive straight on into it. This happened just a few months ago, and I was staying at my fiance's family home in Italy. For those of you that don't know, my fiance is half Italian, and they still have the family home in Tuscany, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And we've been really lucky to stay there a couple of times. Now, I will preface this by saying that I have never really felt anything particularly bad in the house except from when I go upstairs. I don't really like being upstairs in the house. We tend to sleep downstairs when we stay there and don't really have any reason to go upstairs. But the couple of times that I have been upstairs, I just feel like the energy feels really, really different when you go up the stairs for some reason. I just don't really like it. So I try where possible to avoid going up there. And certainly at night time, it's a no go zone for me. So that is the only thing that I have noticed staying in the house a couple of times. But apart from that, everything has been totally fine. But then a couple of months ago, we were over in Italy for my sister in law's wedding. And the last couple of days of the trip, we stayed in the family house before we got ready to head back home to Scotland. And while we were staying there, I decided to write in the guest book because now the family house is like sort of like an Airbnb style idea, like you can pay to stay there. So I was writing in the guest book, and the light next to the guest book started to like pulse. And it was really weird. It did it for quite a long time, and none of the other lights were affected. None of the other electricity in the house was acting up, like nothing was going on. So I was like, that's weird. So I told Matthew to come through. I was like, look at this light. It's just like the light was just pulsing, sort of getting brighter and dimmer and brighter and dimmer. It was really, really strange. And I'm obviously like, I like anything that's weird and spiritual and paranormal. So I was like, what the hell is that? And Matthew jokingly was like, oh, maybe it's the ghost. And I was like, wait a second, what? Like, is there a ghost here? Is this what are you talking about? And he's just like, he just doesn't give that much weight to paranormal stuff. He just doesn't like to think about it. It's just not his thing. But I was like, straight away, what the hell are you talking about? So we started having dinner, eating our pizza, and he told me this story that his aunt had some sort of spiritual experience upstairs in the house. So apparently, this was when she was going through a pretty hard time, and she was upstairs and she was just feeling pretty upset. And she heard this voice that told her that everything was going to be okay. And thankfully, everything was. As far as I know, her life is going good just now. So that's all good. And since then, other people have reported sort of odd experiences that they've had in the house. Nothing sounds particularly threatening or negative. It does seem like a fairly nice, calm entity. Matthew actually said that he thought it was possibly his nonna or nono or one of his grandparents or some family relative that was checking in on the family and making sure everything was okay and sort of looking over them. So that was really, really nice. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's not too bad. Maybe that was what the light was all about. Okay. Um, I didn't feel too scared about it. I was just kind of like curious. I was like, okay, that's really interesting. Then later on that night, Matthew was taking the bins out and he noticed that the light outside the front door was flickering on and off quite rapidly. So he shouted on me. He was like, Sarah, you've got to come see this, because he knew I'd be like, oh my goodness, what the hell's going on? So I came to the door and the light was flickering on and off really, really dramatically. I'll insert footage here because I took my own video and Matthew took a video, and in Matthew's video it's really funny because my face, I just look so shook. So I'll insert the clips now.
It's kind of done. Everything else is normal.
It's the upside down.
What the fuck?
So yeah, as you can see, I was pretty freaked out. And what was really freaking me out was that none of the other lights seemed to be affected. It was just this one light, and it was just pretty dramatic, flickering on and off. And it did it for a really long time. It wasn't just like, we were filming for a while, but it did it for a really long time before it eventually just remained on, which I thought was weird because I thought if the bulb was going, then it would have just went out, but it didn't. So it was really strange, and it just kind of struck me that maybe because Matthew had told me that story, we'd like activated some residual energy or something in the house, and it was like, yeah, I'm here. I don't know. It was almost as if it was trying to draw attention to itself. I'm not sure how else to describe it. It just felt very, very strange. But it didn't feel negative. We didn't feel scared. We were a little spooked, but I wouldn't go as far as to say we were scared. So it definitely didn't feel like a negative entity, I wouldn't say. And I also will add a caveat that when we'd been in Italy, there was quite a few thunderstorms at the time. So it did kind of cross my mind that maybe it was some sort of electrical thing. Maybe there was power surges or something like that. But I don't know. It was just really, really weird. And I would love to know your thoughts on it. Do you think it was some sort of paranormal activity that we managed to capture? Do you think it was just electrical surges, power surges, something else that could be explained? I don't know personally, to be honest, because it was really, really weird. And it was just weird the timing that he told me that story. And then all of a sudden that light's doing that. The last time we'd stayed there, I don't think we'd had any experiences like that. So it was just kind of weird that we'd been talking about it and then that had happened. But yeah, I would love to know what you guys think of this. So definitely leave me a comment down below with your thoughts. And if you like this kind of content, if you want more firsthand personal experiences, I do have a handful of them and I would love to sit down and chat about them. So, since it is the month of October, I decided to do a lot more spooky content this month. So, get ready for lots more spooky content coming your way. I hope you're ready for it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.